Hello, I did not see you there filming. It is the old camera people. Hello Bob, behind the camera. Hello folks. How are you? Sitting at home, I hope, with a nice drink perhaps. Maybe something to eat. Now, today I'm here to tell you another folk tale. It is indeed a folk tale day, as I zoom in a bit more on my lens of the camera. And today's folk tale comes from Scotland, home of those brave Scottish lads, and of course the Hiberno Norse. And I just think to myself that this is an old Hiberno Norse tale from the days when the Vikings ruled. Now, the day's tale is a spooky one. It is called The Two Ghosts, and we all love a ghost. What is a ghost? Are they real? Are you afraid of a ghost? I'm not, but you never know what's out there, do you? There's strange creatures out there, from Bigfoot to dogmen to ghosts. Now, many years ago, as I said, in the land of the Vikings in Scotland, the Hiberno Norse, there was a family. There was an older mother. Sadly, her husband passed away in battle many years ago, but she had two sons. That's actually four there. Two sons. Now, they had no name in the folktale, but for this folktale, I'm going to call them Thorgrim and Thorbert. Now, Thorgrim, he was a bit of a character. He was well known for liking the ale and going drinking every night and staying out late. But, you know, good old Thorbert, he was a wise man, the older brother, and some say he was a priest and used to practice the Norse religion and worship the gods. Now, old Thorgrim, as I said, was a bit of a character. He used to work the land. When it was getting towards sunset, he used to go down to the local village and go to the mead hall and drink gallons and gallons of mead. Some say he could even drink for Thor, but I don't think that's true. I think Thor could easily outdrink him in a drinking match. But as we say, that is indeed another story. And Thorgrim, well, he got a bit of a reputation for going drinking. Every day he would go. And if he did not have the money, he would leave work early on the farm and go and find some neighbour or somebody in the village who needed some work. Or even go to the mead hall itself and do a bit of work for them to get some free ale. I'm sure you would too if you went out of money and needed a drink. After all, beer and cider and wine and alcohol in general is a very nice thing if you can control it and don't get too merry. I'm a drunk braggy. And so, you know, old Thorgrim used to go down to the village. But on the way past the village, he used to pass a place, a church, and he had a yard called a kirkyard. An old Scottish word, old Hiberno word perhaps, for a graveyard. And he used to tell people, you know, he'll be coming back at midnight or 1 in the morning, so that, you know, I'm walking down there past the old church and I keep seeing a ghost. I tell you, man, there's a ghost in that churchyard. Spooky. It keeps walking along the graves, and I tell you that there's a ghost in that churchyard. And the more he saw the ghost, the more he told people. You know, he'll go along, he'll see the old villager Njal with a beard and no hair. Hey up, Njal! I went down the old churchyard last night when I was drunk, and guess what I saw? And Njal would say, well, I don't know, what did you see, Njal? Not talking to himself, old Thorgrim. And Thorgrim would say, I saw the ghost again. You know, and old Njal would say, well, it was had a bit of an old wives' tale. If you're trying to scare people and make it up. And then you'll go and see somebody else, you'll go and see a man probably named Olaf. People always are called Olaf in these tales. He said, hey up, Olaf. I saw the old ghost of the old churchyard last night. What do you think about that? And, you know, and putting my Seax in my scabbard, and Olaf would say, I think you're telling porky pies, mate. There's no such thing as ghosts. I've never seen one in my life. I saw the wife the other day, but that's not a ghost, is it? You know, Olaf's always working hard, never seeing the wife. And so, you know, this kept on happening. And his mother, an old lady, wrinkly face, bit of a bad back. Oh, hello dear. And his older brother Thorbert, the priest, often known for wearing a red hat and a white tunic and white trousers, they was very concerned. Not only were they concerned about the amount of ale he was drinking and the amount of coin that was costing the family, but they was also concerned that, he was going around telling people there's a ghost in the old churchyard. Spooky, I know. And so, one day they was getting a bit bored of their brother's behaviour, and Thorbert says, Mother, he said, we need to do something about old Thorgrim. In this case, younger Thorgrim, because he was his younger brother. And said, his mother said, all right then, dear, what shall we do? As she shook a stick in her hand. I said, I have a cunning plan. I will go and get a white linen sheet, and I will dress up as a ghost to scare him. Because we all know ghosts are scary, and if he actually saw one in real life, he would probably panic, is the right phrase in this situation, and be scared half to wits. Not twit to woo though. And so, he was planning this for a few days. He went off to another village, to a market, where there was a fabric seller selling some nice linen, and he got a couple of coin out his purse. All right there, man, come along to get some fabric. I'm old Thorbert. Here's 2 coin. And they made a bargain, and the old trader cut off a couple of yards, 5 yards, let's say, of linen. This is the purest, whitest linen you can get, he said. How marvellous. And Thorbert went back and cut a little hole for his neck, and he made a little hood, so he looked like he was a ghost. Spooky, eh? Spooky. And so, they waited until one night when they knew that Thorgrim had some coin, because he did not go drinking every night. As you can imagine, some days he was quite poor, and if he could not get work or get coin, he could not go drinking and had to go without. And so, he was going along to the alehouse, and Thorbert, the wise old Hiberno-Norse Viking, a good bunch of lads they were, saw his opportunity. And so he said, Mother dear, it is time for us to do our cunning plan, for I love it when a plan comes together. And, she said, all right then dear, you go and dress up as a ghost and scare your brother, and then hopefully he won't go down the alehouse no more and drink us dry of coin. And so, this is what he did. He waited till his brother got back from work, and his brother Thorgrim came in. Hey up there, brother, I'm going down the alehouse to have lots of mead and lots of ale and a nice meal. He was quite lucky he had a bit of coin that day, he could afford a meal. Oh, lovely jubbly. I love a good meal, especially with bacon or beef. And so, he went off. He walked down the road. Right then, Mum, I'm walking down the road. And he turned direction, another direction, because, paths weren't always straight. Some roads where the Romans left them were straight, but this one's a bit crooked. And he went past the old kirkyard, the old churchyard with an old church. Some say it was made out of stone, some say it was an old wooden building. I don't know, I've not been there. And, he came to the village. On the bench outside one longhouse was Njal and Olaf talking, saying, oh, there's old Thorgrim. Up to trouble again, going to get drunk. And so, he went to the alehouse. It was about 7 in the evening. Of course, they did not have time like we do. But he could tell it was getting late because where the sun was. You always know where the sun was in the sky, what time it was in the day. If it was middle of the sky, you knew it was midday. In this case, it was early evening. And he went to the old landlord, horn of ale, please, and some nice medicine. And he had a horn of ale, quickly ate the meat, and he had another 5 or 6 horns of ale. And so he got to the point when he was staggering about, oh, all right then, madam, I'm a bit drunk. I'm a drunken Thorgrim tonight. Another ale, please. And, they didn't have such things as last orders. You could carry on drinking until you got drunk in those days. Wonderful thing. But it was getting towards midnight. And he ran out of coin. He spent his last coin on a massive horn of ale that holds 4 pints. That was a lot of beer. And he was drinking that down and getting more drunk, you know, putting his arm round people, round strangers, saying, "Oh, you're my best mate, you are," you know, as you do. And, you know, he'll carry on down the road after he left the ale house. And he thought to himself, you know, I'm going to have a look round the churchyard, see if I can see that old ghost. "Go on here, ghosty, I'm going to find you, mate. I want to be your pal." And he was walking up to the churchyard. It was on a bit of a rise of a hill. There was all these wooden stakes and posts. Some were pagan burials, because the churchyard was very old, and some of them were Christians, a new religion in the Dark Ages, who worshipped the White Christ and a geezer called God. And, you know, he was walking around the churchyard thinking, you know, I'm going to look for this ghost, and all of a sudden he saw what he thought was a ghost, a white figure with a white hood. But this was not a ghost, as we know. This was his brother Thorbert, pretending to be a ghost to scare him. And, you know, we always make ghost noises, don't we, when we see a ghost? And he made all these haunting noises. Well, suddenly something strange happened, because Thorgrim, he saw 2 ghosts. And it wasn't because he was drunk and he had double vision. It was, in fact, there was a ghost there, a real ghost. And suddenly Thorbert turned round. "Oh my God," he said. "Oh, Thor, Odin!" Shouting to the gods, because he too had seen the ghost. Never before had he believed there was a ghost in the old churchyard. And he suddenly fell down a very steep hill, and he banged his head, and he had a very nasty accident. In fact, he died with his head wound. And that is the story of the 2 ghosts from Scotland, in a very old medieval folk tale. And I'm sure you agree, a spooky one indeed. Now, I do love a good folk tale, and I do love a good ghost story, and we'll maybe publish this around Halloween if we don't run out of content by then with the old COVID-19 crisis. Damn you, COVID. Upsetting and stopping everyone from walking over. But, you know, I hope you enjoyed this tale. I hope you found it funny. I found it funny as I told it. I don't know why, I'm quite funny. And if you're new, then subscribe. Click the old subscription bar. Don't forget the old notification bell to be notified when we publish, and especially when we do our occasional live streams. And if you're an old subscriber, then hello, how are you doing? Hope you've enjoyed this tale. As I turn around my head to see how long we've got, and 13 minutes. That's spooky, isn't it? But now, what are ghosts? Are ghosts real? Now, there is a patent in law in England that if you have a poltergeist in your house, you have to update your house deeds, stating that it is haunted by a poltergeist. I'm going to leave them that little note, a little snippet of information, because I find that quite interesting. And until we meet again on the channel, which will probably be either at the weekend when we put out this historical content, or even on a Tuesday or a Thursday, it's goodbye from me. Goodbye as I walk back away from the camera. Look at my sword. Oh, what a lovely sword you are. There we go. Oh God, because I'm not a musketeer, I'm a Viking. So we'll probably just scream my head off and charge you with a shield, hopefully. I'm going this way now, actually to the mead hall. It's down here. I used to go that way, but that was when I got lost. Goodbye.